go by Calico Patches. I have an Instagram at Calico Patches, and I also have a blog, calicopatches.com. I do need to catch up. I want to start this YouTube channel to talk about my stitchy stuff, and I want to be able to connect all of those things together. But right now, I haven't done anything in a while. I'm a traditional artist, and so I'm a painter, oil painter, and I have taught and painted for the last 20 years on and off. Let's see, and I have started stitching back when I was pregnant with my first son back in the early 90s. My ex-in-law, she had a little cross-stitch shop, Southern California, which we're originally from, and then we moved up to Oregon in 2003. But my cross-stitch journey started there. She taught me. I made advent calendars for my my oldest son. She made one for me. So these are advent calendars, usually in like the Dutch or German tradition. You open a little gift every day, and I would only stitch when I had something to stitch. I always felt too guilty to just stitch for pleasure, and it just felt, I don't know, it just felt too guilty because it took so long, and it only, you know, it was something you just gave away, or I would just give away. So I didn't stitch again until I was here in Oregon, and my husband got me a book, Stitch People, and I ended up playing around with that and made a little portrait for my brother-in-law, and I will insert a picture here. So now fast forward to a little bit before the pandemic, I was doing an advent calendar for my future daughter-in-law because I wanted to send my son, he lives in Texas, his advent calendar. He lives with her, but I was like, well, that doesn't make sense if I just send him his and she doesn't have one. So when they got engaged, I was like, okay, fine, that's a good enough reason to make her one. So I did, and I'll post a picture here, but I don't want to get into that one a lot because I want to do a video specifically for advent calendars, Christmas advent calendars, and at a later date closer to Christmas. And but that also got me into thinking of designing. You know, already being an artist, I'm always thinking of like what other iterations of things I could do with my characters. And I modified that one in such a way that suited her and my son, that it inspired me. I remember as I stitched, I felt so alive and so happy. And it was just right before the pandemic. So like, I was just going with that project. And then, let's see, I ended up, as I was sewing masks for the pandemic for hospitals, they were asking for masks. Nobody in my family really sews. I sew very little, but I started making them. They were kind of rough at first. And they gave us the hospitals would give these, the volunteers would give us these rough patterns, but I was like, there has to be a better way. So I looked up on YouTube and I found Colorado Cross Stitcher, not for the masks. I found eventually a good pattern to make for masks. I ended up making, I don't know, like it was a group of us, so we were making a lot, but I found Colorado Cross Stitcher and I ended up doing her first summer camp. I sent her some of my floss cards and needle minders, and she inspired me to make needle minders just looking at the stuff that she would sell. But I sent those for free so she could give them away, and then she started ordering from me. And so, but I haven't really focused on that. I've had some medical issues and we've moved a couple times, and I finally feel like I'm stable here at a studio. And I just have really enjoyed Flosstube, watching all the great stitchers. I mean, of course, Colorado Cross Stitcher, Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, Fox and Rabbit, Brenda and the Cereal Starter, Lindy Stitches. My favorite right now, I love her designs, is the Blue Flower. And there's so many. It's like kind of, you know, I can make a rolling title here of all the ones I like, but let's see. And then after deciding that I wanted to learn to design, because I was already transitioning from fine art to more illustrative, I decided to go back to school as an illustrator, a children's book illustrator, and which I am now, to finish my undergrad. I kept going back to school but not finishing, and so going from fine art to character animation to now illustration. But really what I would love to do is design cross stitch, because I love it so much. So we've had a lot of loss in the last 6 years. My father passing, a bunch of our pets passing, because, you know, when the kids are young, you end up with a lot of pets. We had 5. And then they get older, kids leave, and the pets stay, they get older. We just put our last of that era pet to sleep last month. He was 19 years old, and his name was Toby, and I got to paint him, the honor of painting him, and he was a character. And I will post a picture of one of the favorite paintings of his here. And I would like to actually do that into a cross stitch, although it looks like it would be a full coverage. But my big hurdle with cross stitch has been, or looking into designing, has been the software. I've tried 2 or 3 different kinds, and I'm just not good at software. So let's see. So then I just started buying cross stitch and watching Flosstube, and I have finished quite a bit. I have just started framing them, and so I want to do a separate video for that. This video, I want to show my works in progress and what I plan to kit up, or I already have kitted and I'm planning to start. And so, yeah, I just wanted to get on there. I know that they say don't think too much about it and just put it up there. I do enjoy so many of the new Flosstube stitchers. Sorry. I just have really enjoyed it, and it has really been a godsend. There's some work being done next door. I hope you don't hear that. I have discovered that I need to really work on the things that I really enjoy. And that has been a journey. And it's been the hardest thing I have ever done, because I've always put everybody before myself. And that has led to me having issues medically. And I think it's just been a lot of grief. But the stitching every evening has really helped. It just gives me something to lose myself into. And my art has been somewhat like that, but for some reason it's in a different state. Like my art, if you go to my website and look at my portrait work of animals, it comes from a very perfectionistic state of mind. And the cross stitch is a lot looser. It's, yeah, obviously it's like you're working with pixels, right? And not fine fur. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm really grateful. And I hope that you enjoy seeing what I work on. And eventually when I do start putting out designs, they will be fun to stitch. I have a couple that I have stitched myself, and I'm working on getting them, a couple of my designs, to a smaller number of threads, because they're quite a bit. But I will share that later with the finishes, I think. So anyway, I should get started. I don't want to get this video to be too long. So I really like Artsy Housewife. I don't think I mentioned her. And I should take this off of the thing. She is a new designer, and I love her work. It's quirky. It's a bit on. It's kind of retro. And I didn't iron these because they were in the hoop. But this is one I'm working on right now. It is Cats and Cocoa. It looks like the color is going to fluctuate. That always seems to happen. But there's a cat that's going to go here. This is tier 4 and Patreon. So there's a kitty that's going to go here. You can see the tail. There's like a couple of spoons or something. There's a plant and a mug with cocoa in it. I think the cat's holding a cocoa mug too, but that plaid is really cool. I didn't carry over, so it was kind of a pain, but that's okay. She ended up, she does, the call for is over dyes, but there it is. That's the color right there. But I requested DMC, and she was so gracious to went ahead and did that. Gave us the list of the DMC. So yeah, so that's gonna be Artsy Housewife, and that is, she is Patreon. That's tier 4. Let's see who else I'm doing. I am doing Blue Flower in Praise of Pollinators. A lot of people are doing this one. I'm doing this one on Silver Fox 40. I think it's Fiber on the Whim. I just like kind of the blue mottled, and it's kind of gray. So I'm in Salem, Oregon, and the weather, I love it. The weather tends to be a little bit on the gray, and that's fine. I love it. That's one of the big reasons we moved here from California. Next one is Owl Forest, Fox Forest. And this one, I switched it up. I'm using, I wrote it on here, Linen 40 Count Water Green Newcastle. So yeah, the reason I switched it up is that the orange of the fox really plays off complementary to this kind of bluish color. The original fabric for that kit, because they come in kits, was the one I'm using for, this is the color that it came with, this kind of avocado green. And I wanted a little bit more contrast, complementary, so I ended up switching it up. But yeah, it's just adorable. See, I think if you see, you can see the green there. All right, so the next one I'm working on, and I'll talk about the graham guards and the hoops in a little bit. So, but I just wanted to get through this part. I forgot to bring the Maggie, the Messmaker, Charles Wysocki design. This is on 56 count. I had to look it up. It's Cafe Au Lait, A-U-L-A-I-T. I tinted it just a little bit to match the fabric that it came with. It was an Ada, I think like a 20 or 18 or 20 count, but I wanted something small. So this, I was inspired to start this by Olivia, the Pumpkin Hollow Quilt video, where she talks about the leap year start, and I was looking for a big one to work on for 4 years, and I landed on this one. I looked, when I opened and looked at the pattern, so the 10-inch squares, right? No, sorry. The 1-inch 10 stitch squares, there's like 1,200 and something in that whole piece. I divided it by 48, and so that's 48 months, and it gave me 12 squares. So I have to do 12 squares a month on this design, and when I'm done doing the 12 squares of 10 stitches, I put it away. So, so that's like 1,200 stitches, right? Anyway, so I put it away, and then I don't pull it out till the 29th again. And I love it because it's so small. I'm able to do the full stitches and not the half stitches that the design asks or calls for. And yeah, so I tinted this with Rit dye. I added a little bit of tan and a little bit of, I don't know, some sort of maroon. I forget which one it's called, but just to get it a little warmer. And it didn't dye it completely, it just tints it. And so it just gives it a little bit of a warmer color, just trying to match the original color that it was supposed to be on. So that's Maggie the Messmaker, and if I didn't put the image, I'll put it here. It's just adorable. And I have another one that's like got the fishing tackle one, and I just love his work. Every Christmas I get calendars. My husband gives me calendars. I get the books. I hopefully one day I'll get a print. Universe. Anyway, next one I am stitching on is a Sal. It's a current Sal by the Frosted Pumpkin. I will put the cover on that. It is a mystery Sal, so we don't know, you know, I don't know what the time frame is, how many weeks between, and this is where I'm at with that one, with the first clue. This is on Fox and Rabbits. No, Elephant Run 40 count Fox and Rabbit, and I tinted it a little tiny aqua. It's a very gray. It has a little bit of a model. It's very gray, and I added a little aqua and a little denim blue, again, Rit dye, just to tint it, not to overpower what's already there. And it lost a little bit of the modeling, but that's okay. Their designs are small and tight and have a lot of color, so I didn't want something that would lose the stitches on it. I think that helps. I think that pops. All right, so I didn't get the full kit because I know 28 count Ada, I never work on that, so I shouldn't say never, but I did end up getting, they have an option where you could get the stickers that come in the kit, the specialty floss. I think this glows in the dark. It is it glows in the dark. Treasure braid. Okay, I also got the needle minder. I haven't put it on yet, I should. And they have the little, what's it called? The little whale. Oh, sorry for the glare. I guess I could take it out. So they do have the option to just order the extras. You also get a thread keeper with the symbols and everything. So look at this narwhal whale. Is that what they're called? And yeah, so I got that, and it's been fun starting on that one and waiting for that. They really like kind of pump up the excitement. Another Sal that that just dropped today, actually the first clue or the first one dropped today, but is Lola Crow. She's a local designer. I love her work. I did her other Sals, and I just framed that one. But this one is called Deadly Aquarium. I think that's what it says there, Deadly Aquarium. And this is on Seafoam. I think it's a Weeks because it has that feel that Weeks does. It's that soft, kind of more organic, not stiff, which is what I love. I love the Weeks dye works fabrics. This is a 40 count Seafoam. I think it's 40 count. And she just uses DMCs. I might do some glow in the dark DMC here or there, but the first one dropped today. I could go ahead and put the cover on that, and then I'll see if I could put the one that is coming up that I'm going to stitch this weekend. Yeah, I love her work. All right, so I'm going to talk about these hoops. I actually got this hoop from a stitcher designer. I bought a class or a kit, a class kit. Her name is Jimena Romero. I will put her website there. And I haven't actually finished or done that. I have so many kits that I need to get into that are more the embroidery, and I will talk about that stuff more because I am more interested as well on doing traditional embroidery, different stitches. I guess it's more like a French embroidery. But anyway, this this hoop came from her, and it's like wrapped in this kind of, I don't think it's real wool, but it feels like wool, and it's so it already came wrapped. And she also talks about it in a class in Domestika. Domestika is a kind of like Skillshare where they have all these classes. And they're usually in Spanish or different languages, Portuguese or Argentinian, or and she's describing how they do their hoops. And since then I have ordered other hoops. So like here's a hoop. They have the spring. I tend to pull them quite a bit so that they get a little looser, and then I wrap them with cold glue. It's like a silicone cold glue, and with a flannel, like a soft cotton flannel. And this way I am not so worried about leaving the projects in this way. I just put them in a bag. I have these like large, just Ziploc bags, like the really big one, like 16 or 18 inch Ziploc bags with their threads, which I keep in the floss away. I actually use the snack bags from the dollar store, and I punch a hole, keep them together. I started to use Photoshop for my marking as I stitch. I used to print them out and tape them together, and that was great for traveling and in a way, but it's always a pain to have that clipped to my lamp, and sometimes I couldn't find a fluorescent marker. And so anyway, I just started to use Photoshop because I always have Photoshop open for some reason. I'm always doing homework or working on something. So I just started using Photoshop, putting all the pages together, lining them up, and just using the layer to click. And it's been working out great. Yeah, so I used to try to find PDF marking software, and I just got tired of it because they would just chunk, and sometimes it wouldn't show, and sometimes it wouldn't open. And I tried different kinds, and they just wouldn't. I haven't tried Pattern Keeper. I'm on a Mac, so I heard people use the iPad, but I just having two things like that, already having my laptop open next to me is just too much. And I just decided, okay, fine. My laptop's always next to me, so I'm just gonna use the laptop. So that's what I've been doing. In regards to the grime guards, I did buy one grime guard. I finally said, okay, fine. I want to see what they're like, and I did find this grime guard on Etsy. Paid like 15 bucks. She worked with me to try to figure out what the size was, because it's an odd size, and we got it, and I love it. And when I went to go buy more, the store wasn't there anymore. So I'm not sure what that was about, but I realized that for years I've been buying flannel sheets for the boys and for my bed, but my husband and the boys run really hot. They don't like flannel sheets. But every time I would buy some because they were on sale, I'd be like, hey, let's try these. And then they would not use them. And so I have been pulling those instead of giving them away to Goodwill. I've been cutting them, and they're pretty easy to make. There's a Winnie the Pooh one, so this is really old. And so they're easy to make. The only thing to remember, that I have to remember, is that when you cut the elastic, you have to have a stitch or two there so that the elastic doesn't pull through the little channel that it's supposed to be in. It'll just snap out. So you have to, when you cut it, before you cut it, I have to remind myself to do the little stitch first. I usually do it on the machine, and then I could cut it, and that way it keeps its elasticity. All right, so that's that. I'm going to talk about now the stuff I want to work on that I've been kitting and working on kitting, because you know that takes a little while, right? Like to try to decide. So I recently received, and I'm really looking forward to, I got this from the attic, Miss Julia D. Brown's portfolio. I'm trying to remember who I saw this, who did this one. I was talking about it, but I love it. It is gorgeous. It's done on perforated paper. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to do DMC. I'm trying to use the stash that I have with these future projects as much as I can. If I absolutely have to buy something, then I will, but I really need to use what I have. This is getting kind of ridiculous. So I think I'm going to use a parchment. I have the little thing here, 46 count parchment linen Weeks Dye Works. This is Swigart base. So the issue with this is that because it's 2, I only have this one in this count. So I need to order either new, I don't know if it'll match if I order another one of these. I mean, I could try, but I think I'm just going to order 2, and hopefully those will match, and I'll start that. But I have that kitted and ready to go once I decide. I mean, I could start it now, and I think I'm going to start the flower one first, but I'm going to do them in two separate ones. But I'm afraid that the linen might not match, so I think I want to wait. Another one that was inspired by Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts is this one. She just stitched this flat, not as a strawberry, and I loved it. And this is from the Winds of Autumn Blackbird Designs. I just loved it. The way it looked. I hadn't appreciated it before. I bought this book for another design. I bought it for this one, which I have kitted, and I'm going to start it this year. I like to stitch things in season, and I might just kit this and get it ready for fall. Just have it ready, and I think that's what I'm going to do. But I want to do it now because I will forget. There's another one that I might start as well that doesn't look so, well, I guess it is autumn because of the acorns. It is an autumn book, but I love that one. So yeah, I just love when somebody brings up something that they're doing that it's like, oh, I have that book. Why didn't I think of that? It's so funny. I also want to do this one. It's adorable. I might do this one on an orange fabric though. I think that would really pop with like a really orange, like a burnt orange. So yeah, so I want to do that one. I don't have the threads out, but I think I'm only missing 2. When I look at my inventory spreadsheet, it looks like I have it. I just need 2 of them. And So yeah, so those that's for future kitting. This one I've also been sitting on and thinking I need to do, but this is all in one piece, and that's what I plan to do. It is called A Heart Remembers, and this is the book. I just love, 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 love all the little ornate, kind of scattered ornate. It's not like traditional ornate design, but I don't know, it's just very cluttered. I love it. So I'm planning to do it on one piece. There it is, the way they did it. They did it on 5 different pieces, and then they quilted it together, stitched it together. And she describes that the reason they did that was kind of homage to that they started out as quilters. I'm going to do it on a 56 count. Is Cafe au Lait. And yeah, so that's that plan for that one. And I do want to start this one this summer because I think that it's in season, all the flowers and stuff. Here's another one that I mentioned, all the animals that have passed in the last 4 or 5 years, and we have new pets. We have a dog. He is a treeing walker coonhound. He's the sweetest boy. I'll put a picture of him here. His name is Charlie. He's 4 years old. We got him when he was a puppy. He's a rescue. And we have 2 cats, a tuxedo cat, Figaro. We call him Figgy. He's adorable. He's very little. He's 7 pounds, but he thinks he's 7 years old, about 7.5. And he has the biggest attitude, though. He walks around like he's the little man. And I'll put a picture of him here. And then Patches, who is kind of one of the inspiration for the name Calico Patches. So before, and I could talk about this as well. This is I'm gonna be doing this Moggy Manor by the Blue Flower. So Lucky, if you see my paintings, she was my muse. She's a calico. We had her since she was a kitten. We had her for 18 years, and oh my gosh, she was the sweetest little thing. She's a country cat, always outside, kind of feral, but we got her inside when she was a kitten, early enough. I think she was like 14 weeks, and she was an indoor cat back in California, and we lived out in the country. And then we moved to Oregon, became an apartment cat because we were in a townhome for a few years, and it took her a while to adjust, but she did. And she picked me as her person. She was my eldest son's cat, but eventually she picked me, and we just had the neatest relationship, friendship. And I just painted her. I just loved her coloring, and she just was so sweet. So her name was Lucky. The boys named her. So when she passed, I had to wait a while. You know, I would look at the rescue sites to see if I wanted another kitten, but I was like, no, my heart hurt too much. And eventually, I think I waited 6 months. It wasn't, or maybe a year. I don't know. I have to look it up. Time for me is kind of abstract. But anyway, we ended up coming to Salem. We were living in Hillsborough. We came to Salem to visit this rescue that they had, this calico cat. She was so cute. Like, she has 2 marmalade or orange tabby feet, legs, and 2 black ones. And I just loved it. She just looks like she's from all these different parts. And she was really, really cuddly. She immediately got on me and started purring, and she was just like, take me, take me. So anyway, I'll put a picture of her here. And she is, 3 years old now? So she's pretty young. And she used to be my cat, but now that I'm spending so much time at the studio, she's starting to become my husband's cat. But that's okay, because he needs a buddy to Toby, the cat that passed away before he was his cat. So, back to the stitching. I am planning to put our cat Squeaky, who passed away a long time ago, maybe about 8 years, 10 years ago. I'm going to put him on top, I think. He was a tabby. Toby was a mackerel tabby, and Lucky the calico. So this will be a memorial in memory of those 3 cats. And I just love it. I love it. So I'm going to do this one. I picked a 40 count. I think I have a big enough piece. Yeah, it should be fine. 40 count cafe au lait linen. I think that's how you say it. I got this at Lindy Stitches. But yeah, so that's what this is going to be for, and it's going to be a really special piece. Yeah, so let's see, keep going. Now I have this one that I want to start. It's these set of 2. It's a stag. It's just beautiful. And the mama and the baby. And I got this. So there's this Facebook group on Stash, Cross Stitch on Stash. And there's another one. So there's 2 that I frequent. And it seems like these ladies that had shops back in the 80s have a lot of, or they're going to the thrift store, I don't know, and they're putting stuff up constantly, and it's cheap. I think I got this for like $6, and it's got a few things, but the reason I got that one is that here in the studio, my studio in the back, we have this like really wild garden. I just don't have time to even begin to tame it. It was already overrun when we got it, but once in a while I'll wake up and there are deer in the back. There's an alley in the back, and they just come in, hang out for the day. I've noticed that they come when it's trash day, so I think they're hiding from the trash trucks, garbage trucks, and they hang out for the day. And I noticed it was, for a while, it was the mother and then the 2 teenagers, and then it was just the 2 teenagers. So maybe, I haven't seen her in a little while, so maybe she's off having more babies, and the 2 teenagers are now adults, so they can just roam by themselves. I'm going to do this on Weeks Dye Works parchment. I just love this feel. I love it. I actually was using this one for another one that I started, and I had to stop, and it frogged. I had finished about a little bit over a third of the border, and that one was Autumn by Sarah Germani, and I love her borders. I love her work, and I finished that one, but I had started it on this and gotten quite a ways through on the top border, and I realized, got like through here, and I realized I had counted wrong, or I grabbed the wrong fabric, and I had to frog all that. But it was okay. I frogged it. I washed it in hot water. You're not really supposed to do that with linen, but I wanted it to tighten it back up again, and it was fine. I washed it, and then I ironed it, and then I can't tell where the frogging was. So that worked out fine. So I'm going to do that on this. I think it has enough space to do both, and I'll frame them separately. But yeah, that one I'm really excited to do. Next one I have is this one. There's a little one. Cat. I like to have different sizes. Sometimes I'm in a meeting, just listening, and I want to just be able to pick up something real quick. Not pay too much attention to what I'm doing, just one color or whatever. So I'm going to try this one on 32 count dark chestnut linen. I will have to probably modify one of the cats, the tortoise one, because it's the colors are a little similar, but that's okay. That one there, might have to modify it. So I don't know. I already pulled the colors. I think that's the one I want. So we'll see. And again, I could modify it to look like my cats. So that's what's exciting about that one. So here's another one that I found on the Unstash. This is All Things Bright and Beautiful. I'm still not 100% sure if I want to put the prayer in it. That's not what called to me. It was the border itself. Like, there's like a little pond there with the frog and the squirrel. I don't know. It's just adorable. But it does have a lot of colors. Look at that. It's a lot of colors. It took me a while to get that kitted. I have this kind of a more like a raw, kind of greenish tan. I don't know. It just feels kind of primitive. And I feel like it's like a 32 count. I haven't stitched the sides yet. But I think I'm going to be able to do it. I already counted it and it looks like I can. But it is very, I don't know if that helps. Feels like it's kind of reflecting. Let me see if I do the double. So I'm going to try to do it on that. It just kind of has that old world feel to it. I might, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not thinking of the prayer in that. Maybe another different prayer. A poem. I don't know. Vera Mouse Picnic is the next one. Let me pull it out of the sleeve. This is another one I found in the Unstash. Actually, it had sold already when I saw it, and so I went to eBay and I found it. And so it wasn't as cheap as they were selling it. I think they were selling it for like $10, but I found this on eBay for $18. But look how adorable that is. Yeah, I really like anthropomorphic animals. Beatrix Potter is one of my biggest influences. Oh, I have a lot of influences actually. Edward Gorey. So this one I want to stitch on this kind of cream. I don't know if you can see the color. It's cream linen by Swigart. It's 40 count. So yeah, I like high counts. I really do. I like things to be small. I don't have a lot of wall space. I have a lot of windows, and so that makes it tricky. So yeah, I want to start that one. And this brings me to the final two that I'm going to talk about. So I came across these. There's a Facebook group called OOP Out of Print Unicorn something, and I will put, whenever I mention something and I don't remember, I'll just put the link on the bottom, or what it's called. So this is the primitive needle. Her stuff is really hard to find, and this is called Cape Cod Boys and Cape Cod Girls. And I had originally found these on eBay and bought them, but the woman emailed me and said, I don't have them. It looks like my mom took them. So I'm going to refund you. So that happened. And so then I went to the Facebook group and asked there if anyone knew of them. And I think someone said, hey, I see it on eBay right now. Why don't you go? So I bought the boys one, knowing that I was eventually going to try to get the girls one. So I did that. I bought it, not cheap, $49. And then 2 years later, someone messaged me and said, hey, I have this one. I have the girl. I don't think I'm going to stitch it. If you want it, I could sell it to you. So yeah, I got it for $50. So I got them both for $100 basically. and they go for a lot. The Primitive Needle, I looked her up. Her family, she passed away. Her family is not going to continue putting out her designs, and so that has made them very pricey. I would love to get the Witch's Hollow, I think that's what it's called, and borrow it, buy it. But I've seen it for $3.25. I think I saw it not too long ago for $3.25, and I can't do that. Maybe, I don't know. I know that the Facebook group used to allow borrowing, but they don't do that anymore. So what I plan to do is stitch these and then put them up for sale on eBay, so they could go on to whoever is next looking for them. And I'm going to just put them for what I paid for, because that's, there are people out there that are willing to pay for it. And so yeah, I do have, when I do the finishes video, I do have, and I'll put it here real quick, a picture, the Majestic sampler of hers. I finished that one. I'm working on the ABC Horn book. I think that's what they're called. Which is kind of a long one. Again, I think the Majestic sampler, I'm already ready to sell. I'll have to look up how much I bought that for and when I bought it. I don't remember. But yeah, I was thinking of either selling them on the Unstash or on eBay, just to, I already stitched them, so like just to get them out there, because I know there's people looking for them. I know I am. For instance, I'm really looking for Ida Crow by the housewife, the old housewife. I don't know. I'll put it up here. I'm looking for that one. I know I just saw it go for $100. There's two. There's the female and the male crow, and they're adorable. But yeah, those are out of print things. Hopefully the designers will print them again. But anyway, that is where I'm at. Like I said, the next video, we'll see how this goes. I have practice on editing and clipping and adding pictures, so I know I can do that now. I'm just using iMovie, just keeping it simple. And the next the next video, I want to do the finishes. I have framed a couple things. I'm ready to frame a couple other. I have quite a bit finishes in the last 3 years, so I'm probably going to be a long video, longish. Also, I wanted to talk about in that video of some of the things that I've designed and I want to focus on. So yeah, I also have projects that I don't know would fit into the Flosstube realm, but I have some projects where I want to work on soft dolls. So I did Stacy Nash's animal crackers. I did those a couple years ago. His tote's coming off. And I will talk about those in the finishes as well. So it kind of gets into the realm of soft dolls and puppets, and I made that other one there. It's a character that I have a story for, and I'll talk about all that later. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching my video and being here with me. I am like so excited, a little nervous about putting this out there. It's something new. I'm not used to, I'm the kind of person that doesn't like pictures taken of me. I don't like being on camera, but I know that if I really like watching other people and their work, that as I input all this stuff, I need to have an output. I need to have something that I can like put out there and just let it go, because I know that that is in a way a process of creativity, the progress of creating something and just letting it go. So yeah, it's just a muscle that I have to flex and be able to get used to. I find it's so courageous for some of the people that I've watched the Flosstube, that they're like, just sharing their work and, not really thinking of like, what do I look like? What do I, you know, how do I say this? And so I'm really trying to accept that in myself. It's a journey and it's part of like my recovery. So yeah, I have been working a 12-step program, ACA, and it feels like the more I work on my true self and inner child and leaning on what I enjoy, this is like a really important part of it. Just understanding what it is I like and leaning into enjoying it. And it comes from a higher self, it comes from a higher power, it comes from soul work. And so I really believe that it's important to share. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to be back soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.